Well, that's a sign in itself, isn't it, Arthur? If the buyers advocates are coming in and they're purchasing. I know Frankston's had a real positive spiel in the media as well. But yeah, look, it is what it is, regardless whether the volumes are high, whether the volumes are low. All I'm saying is take advantage of it. But let's get straight into it. We've got a few people on. I know there'll be a couple more minutes and then we'll get a bigger crowd coming through. But we've got everyone across the country, which is fantastic. We've got Andy Thorpe over from the west, Dominic down south in Hastings. We've got Matt Newley in New South Wales. I think we've got most states represented. We've got South Australia, the whole lot, haven't we? And if we're lucky enough to get Nick Marcellus in as well, we'll have Northern Territory. So that covers everyone. But team, welcome to another session of the Black Salt virtual sessions. Today, I'm really excited because it's probably every session I always say it's one of my favorites, but this certainly is one of my favorites. It's the mid-year review. It's having a look at our numbers and, of course, reviewing how we're progressing through the year. And, of course, we've got special guest David Dwyer from the Sapphire Coast, and, of course, Michael McClure from our Frankston office sharing their insights and how they've reviewed their business. And we're hoping you get lots of value from there. But anything else to add, Arthur, before I get straight into the presentation?
Sorry, I just muted myself there. No, I think we're all good to go. I'm excited to hear, I guess, how business has impacted not only, Dwyer Properties there, and Michael will fill us in on our local market, but I guess we'll have maybe a couple of minutes there to scan the room as well.
Yep, 100%. Okay, so let's get straight into it. I'm just going to pull up the slides and slideshow from the beginning. Okay, and as soon as I find and it's always the case, share screen. Okay, so let me know if you can see all that.
Got it there.
Good?
Yeah.
You got it?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so I just want to make sure that I've got. Just give me a second, team. Perfect. Okay. Done. Okay, so let's get straight into it. So can you see that, Arthur?
100%, mate. All good.
All good. Okay, fantastic. All right, guys. Well, welcome to another session. As I mentioned, Agents of the Field, training Agents of the Field, our Black Salt training. Get the clicker going. Okay, again, a big shout out to our industry partners. Without them, this would not be able or possible. So a big shout out to these guys. I know a lot of the team are actually reaching out to a lot of them. They're getting some great tools and tips from our industry partners. As I said, we're up to June, the mid-year review. Are you on track or off track? We've completed the first 5 sessions and the first 2 leadership sessions. Before, I'd love everyone to lock in the dates because Black Salt 26 has been locked in. Day 1 being the Strategy and Inspiration Day, Tuesday the 3rd of December in 25. So it's going to be at the Promenade at Crown Casino, and day 2 is a little bit different. It's changed to our PB, and it's our PB 2026 implementation, where we're actually going to go through the PB workbooks through feedback that we had from last year. And a big shout out to Nigel, and I know you'd probably be excited about that. This one, it's actually from the day 1 we'll get our strategy and inspiration, and then day 2 we'll actually be implementing our PB books. So super excited about that, and it'll be hosted at realestate.com. So it's going to be a lot of insights and really some practical stuff. As I've always said about Black Salt, we want the inspiration and we want the rah-rah, but at the end of the day, we want some real practical tools that you can walk away from every session, no matter it's a virtual or no matter it's an in-house session, that you can actually implement in your business. And of course, I get the feedback, but it'd be great to share everyone's feedback every time that they use something and say, hey, I've implemented that because I learned it at one of the sessions and one of the team members. So super, super excited about that. And of course, you'll be hearing a lot about the Live It Up conference here in Crete. As everyone knows, I am here with Maria in Crete, and obviously our second home. And it will be our fourth Live It Up conference that we'll be hosting here in Crete, and super excited to welcome the regulars that usually rock up and new team members that want to join us at the Live It Up conference that's been put under the Black Salt banner. So who's excited about that? Who can I see some thumbs up, and who's going to start planning 365 days? Yeah. So so we're super, super excited about that. Okay, and I've got Dominic Talon on, and I think, Dominic, you're going to have to put on a special impromptu session for everyone on how to obviously get your tickets using points and business class. And actually, while you're here, do you want to just share a couple of things? I'll just stop share there.
I'm going to take over the planning session, or
I think it's important because it's a really good one.
No, we should. Yeah, we'll do a session for anyone that wants to tune in, and then we'll do an in-depth one at the conference. So if you want to
just share with the team what's possible using points.
Geez, everything's possible. But really, main thing is, well, I do at least one international trip a year where we travel business or first class for free, basically, on points. Because I run all my business expenses through my credit cards, collect the points and use them, and don't spend them on things that don't have good value, which is like online shopping through Qantas or hotels. So yeah, we're going to go to Singapore. We've got return first class flights next month. Just because I saw them online, I said to Angel when we were sitting on the couch, you want to go to Singapore? She's like, all right, let's go to Singapore. So yeah, there we go.
Guys, I think that's an invaluable insight in itself. So can't wait. We'll organise that in the coming month. As soon as we announce the Live It Up conference, we'll announce obviously that session, and we'll schedule it how to fly overseas using points, business class, and the big one there, first class too. Maria, you wanted to mention something?
Yeah. I just wanted to mention there was a question about the gala. Definitely, the gala is going to be on obviously day 2 after we finish the second session. So
for our,
if you want to go through that.
agency members, the gala is on the day 2 that night. So the 4th of December, Wednesday, the 4th of December. Awesome. All right, let's get back onto the share. Okay, we're all good. Okay, so moving forward. Now, the last session, I wanted to talk about the last leadership session, volume is vanity, profit is standard, end of year financial must-dos. Who attended that session? Just a quick show of hand, right? Can you tell me if you got some great takeaways? What was the big takeaways? The feedback I got from that session was incredible. If you missed it, go back into the portal and see the recording. It's absolutely worthwhile, and make sure you do it before the end of financial year. I've had so much feedback on that session alone, and how much money it saved individuals in business. So does anyone want to just share anything that they got from that session?
My biggest one was the forward paying of expenses that you can't, and obviously it's not everything, but I ran a profit and loss. I looked at what my profit's going to be this financial year, and I've gone, all right, well, that's income tax I don't really want to have to pay. So now I'm going through all my bills, and I'm making sure I've actually reset up automatic payments June 30, a bunch of stuff that's probably not due till July or later in July. I'm paying it all June 30 so I can bring down my income tax.
Yeah. Guys, that was an invaluable insight. One of the other valuable insights was the Division 7A for our business owners who have Division 7A and loan accounts, to really make sure they manage that. I had a one-on-one conversation thereafter with an individual, and it was a light bulb moment for them, and it saved them a lot of heartache had they not picked this up just from that session. Yeah, David, go for it.
I jumped on and just went back through to see what I borrowed from the business and made sure I jumped straight on and paid it back to avoid a Div 7, so we didn't have to go down that road. Also bringing superannuation, pay all your super before the end of June. I think June 23 is the cutoff, so get all your super paid before then. Just anything you can do, like Dom said, bring any payments you can bring them forward, and
Yeah, and it's really important what you just mentioned. Make sure that your super payments are paid well in advance, because sometimes it has to hit the superannuation account for it to become tax deductible. So we may have paid it on a particular date in June, but if it doesn't hit the account before the 30th of June, you can't claim it as a deduction. So it's really, really important to understand the logistics and the mechanics.
And the ATO will penalise you on it too.
Absolutely, and you'll get the penalty. And there's just more mucking around. So it's all those little tips and advice that I want everyone to really understand. And please reach out to Rose, our bookkeeper, and obviously to Rafi and Fiona. They shared some great insights as well, Fiona, on the property management side of things, to make sure that you're on top of things for the end of financial year from a property management point of view. Jody, the big one was obviously fees and making sure you have a system to collect all your fees and so forth. It's hundreds, if not thousands of dollars of missed fees. So a really big one. Anything from there for you, Jody?
I was just curious whether Arthur's number plates have arrived.
Div 7A. They're going to be quite valuable, actually.
Good tax write-off there.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. All right, moving forward. As I said, those sessions are recorded in the Black Salt portal, all the workbooks. Can I just say, one of the things that we really need to be doing for the end of financial year, and I've been doing a number of coaching sessions of recent, and the number one thing I've asked them is, have you gone through every single book and 28-day system planner and the 2025 yearly prospecting schedule? Have you gone through these books page by page? And the majority have said no. The majority of people, so I'm assuming if one person says no, there'll be probably lots of others who have said no. You really need to do it, because a couple of people have done that and they've messaged me and they've said, Manos, I can't believe the structure in these books. Everything is covered off, right? So it's really, really important that there's so much stuff that we go through in these sessions, but you need to take some time out, sit down with a glass of wine, if you like your wine, just spend an hour. It'll only take you an hour to read these books cover to cover, to understand what value is in there. And you can start ticking off what possibly could be missing. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know. So it's absolutely invaluable. And as you know, a lot of time and effort have gone in there, not to make them a pretty book, but to actually be used. So the number one thing when we do a mid-year review is, are you using all the resources? And it's a great way, again, to use it as a checklist by just going through the whole books, right? So, and I'd love people's feedback on it as well, because when we get the feedback, we can obviously improve them and, of course, know where the golden nuggets are in the workbooks. And, of course, the Black Salt AI Coach. I know it's been really invaluable for lots and lots of people. And yeah, so has it helped you out in any way? Has it helped? Like, I know a few people have sworn at it as well, which is fine, which is great. But again, it's a tool that's there. It's part of your membership. You've got access to it 24/7. And the more you use it, the more it's going to be able to help you. So I highly encourage, if you haven't used it, please do so. Okay. Done. All right. So a mid-year review. Let's go. I'll look at the time. We're on time. Fantastic. Okay. So at the end of last year at our Black Salt conference, we talked about the path to a PB, a personal best. And I think it's important to understand that, you know, that was only 160, 170 odd days ago that we had our Black Salt conference, where we talked about what's it going to take to create a PB. At the moment, we've gone through 156 days in 2025, and we've got 209 days left. Can you believe in just a few weeks, we're halfway through the year, right? So, and I think the older we get, the quicker each year seems to pass, right? So it's a matter of being on top of your progress and your activities early, not waiting, because by the time we wait, we realize, shit, a quarter of the year's gone, half the year is gone. And to understand, we need to have a PB, and of course, to review our progress, we need to first define your next PB. We need to identify the needle movers, have an accountability partner. We need to get out of our comfort zone. We need to start by strengthening your weakest link and measure and celebrate milestones. And that's the formula to a PB. So I want everyone to really embrace what we discuss at the end of the year and how it applies in the mid-year. And are we on track or off track? So the whole purpose is to review, reset, relaunch. And we use the mid-year point to obviously look at our end of financial year, but also look at it from a calendar year perspective and keep that momentum going. And we need to understand that when we do something today, we need to be doing something today our future self will thank us for, right? Review, reset, and then relaunch. And this is the big one. Like we're going to get some invaluable insights today from David and Michael, and of course the sharing that we'll have as a community, but the risk of inaction. And I often talk about, you know, my goal in 2025 is to complete my goals for 2024, which I should have completed in 2023, because I promised myself I would achieve them in 2022, which I've written down to do in 2021. So are we on track or off track to make our 2025 goals an absolute reality? And it's just a matter of reviewing and keeping the basics going. Quick show of hands, who's on track, who is off track? Put it in the chat box, because it's really, and you need to have that honesty approach as well, right? You need to be honest with just, are you on track or are you off track? And Marie, if you can let me know what people are saying, that'll be great. To just say, are you on track or are you off track? And it's going to be the insights that we're going to be shared by David, and go for it, Marie.
So Hayden is off track. Michael on in some aspects, off in others. I feel the same way, Michael. I feel the same way. Matt Newley, way off. Kristen, on track. Just. Well done, girls. Turner Estate Agents on track. Tim Cardillo off track. So it's a mixture, isn't it? Yeah. I tend to agree a lot with Michael. There's some aspects, like I feel like really fully organized about a lot of things. There's a couple of things like, you know, for example, speakers for the next Black Salt. If anyone knows of a really great one, please let me know. But that's at the back of my mind. And I know Steph is smiling because she's, you know, waiting on me. So there's, you know, it can be sometimes that some things are on, some things are off, you know, because you're focusing more on some rather than others. Lincoln, off track. Well, you've got a good excuse, Lincoln.
Yes.
You do have a good excuse. You've got a newborn baby. Scott, off, however, knowing why. That's really important too, isn't it, Manos?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It really is.
Dom on track. Hit PB in May. Well done, Dominic.
Yeah.
Turner, Kelly Slater. Nigel, working on getting back on track, and Turner, Great speaker. Kelly Slater. Thank you.
Love it.
Oh, love it.
And this is what it's all about. It's about having a self-review
Yeah.
and not waiting to the end of the year and then resetting the goal for the following year. We need to be resetting, reviewing everything that we're doing. So I'm really hoping people
Yeah,
get
and
some.
just the last one,
and
Manos,
the simplicity of it.
Lou said he's off track but performing better than last year. So that's really good. So obviously the targets were high.
And I think that's an important thing to mention is sometimes we can overinflate our ambition to what's actually possible. And that's why reviewing is so important, because you know what, we may be doing really, really well based on the market forces, based on our activity, but we're never satisfied. So again, finding that balance and making sure that we're, you know, our self-talk is so valuable to make sure that it's always positive, not negative. And that's not what we're here to do. We're not talking about having negative self-talk, positive self-talk, and reinforcing the stuff that we should do. Okay, so first of all, let's welcome our special guests. We have Michael McClure from our eView Frankston office, a veteran in the industry, and of course, amazing David Dwyer, running an amazing operation, Dwyer Properties on the beautiful Sapphire Coast, Merimbula. And if you haven't visited that place, you need to visit. So welcome, guys. How are we?
Good, mate.
Yeah, very, very good. Can we give the 30-second rundown, Michael, for those people that obviously, I believe the majority of people would know you, but if we can start with you, your 60-second intro, how long you've been in the industry, and obviously we'll get into your session shortly.
Yeah, it's being referred to as a veteran is something that I guess is true. I've been doing it for 14 years now. But it still doesn't sit well. It's surprising. But do you like my office, Manos? Do you think this is a really good setup where I am, mate?
Oh, brilliant, mate. It really suits you, buddy. It really suits
that's right.
you.
Who's this lovely lady here?
Oh, I love it, Michael. Every time I ring the team, someone is using my office, and I'm like, God, these guys are really going to be upset when we get back because they're getting a really good use out of our offices.
I have used Manos a few times, but you know, it's always for important stuff, Manos. So I hope hope you don't mind.
I want you to get used to it.
I don't think so, mate. I don't think so. So I've been doing it for 14 years. I've been a salesperson that entire time. I've been in the same office, so with eView in Frankston, with some brilliant people, and learnt a lot over the years. And I've had a strong intention for balance throughout my career. But as things change, and I'll go into a bit of what we're after and what our plans are. The beautiful part about our industry, as everybody knows, is you can move the goalpost at any time and decide to change things up and work it around your lifestyle. So yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah, I love it. And one thing we should also mention, so when we talk about veterans, one of the key factors that sellers actually choose agents to represent them, one of the key factors is, have you got over 10 years worth of experience? So if you're actually been in the industry for 10 years plus, make sure that you're really promoting that in your bios. Selling real estate, obviously for Michael since 2011, so it saves you updating that bio. But it really is important that people trust. Obviously, it just builds that extra layer of trust and that knowing that you've got that experience. Thanks, Michael. And over to you, David.
So I've been in real estate I've done 17 years now, in my 18th year. Started in 2008 after doing 26 years plumbing. So I left school when I was 15, straight into a job as an apprenticeship, as you used to do back then at the end of year 10. 26 years in that. And then we moved to the South Coast, opened up didn't open up a real estate office, worked for someone for 8 years, and then started my own office. So I've got this thing inside me that I've got to continually grow. I was the same when I was plumbing. I ended up with a team of 10 in the plumbing company, and then the same with this. I just always, and it doesn't always mean growing in numbers. It means growing and getting better. So it's always a thing just to try and make sure that I'm better today than I was yesterday.
Yeah, I think perpetual learning is something that you've always embraced, which is so important, and always wanting to grow. That belief that you could always learn something more. So, and if there's anyone that I've seen it just about, and we met first in training sessions with Lee Woodward. Interesting, you have the same backgrounds as plumbers. So people come into this industry from all walks of life, and congratulations on your career and all the success that you've had. And can't wait to be sharing more of a business perspective, obviously from David, who also runs a team of three there's three EBUs, 2 individual sales agents with their EBUs, and obviously David with Tanya as an EBU. So it'll be interesting to see I think you're going to be excited to see what he measures and how he manages his office. So super excited. Okay, let's get straight into it. So straight off the bat, we've got Michael. So Michael, it's the end of year review. So let's just talk. How are you tracking for the calendar year and/or versus the financial year? We've got the numbers a little bit later, but if you can just give a brief, and how often are you reviewing your progress and your results?
Yes. So in terms of financial year, we had a goal at the start of the last financial year to write 700 grand. We are at 642 currently, so you'll see those figures in a moment, with a month to go, so we should get there. We've got stock that should sell that look very, very close, and I've got others that are dragging their feet trying to get them along, and obviously new stock coming in as well. So we should get there from a financial point of view, but I have moved the goalpost, which I'll go through in a moment in terms of each end of financial year, and then when it comes around to the new year, we'll review our goals. And so I've always had a bit of a rolling basis that we'll have the end of financial year goals, and you'll set that ahead, and then it gets to the end of the year and you're thinking, shit, we're either on track or off track, and then you'll review it again to do the next 12 months. And so really I probably should be working in 6-month spurts, would be more accurate in how I seem to run my business. But then there's also the personal side of things as well. We had personal goals at the end of last financial year to come into this year, and some are again on track, and some are a little bit off. Do you want me to go into that now, or do you want to?
Yeah, no, please go for it. Yeah, it'll be really good. Yeah.
Okay. So for me to write 700 grand, I need to do 50 sales. And in order to do 50 sales, I need 55 listings. And in order to do 55 listings, I need about 160 appraisals. And so sorry, I'm just double checking those figures you got there, Manos. So yeah, so 2023, 630 grand. We had done, it wasn't actually 55 sales, that was 55 listings, and it was 46 sales rather, for 630 grand. And we're currently on 47 sales. No, sorry, we're currently on 46 sales for 642. So same amount of sales, but 12 grand difference in GCI, and that's simply just slightly higher commissions, but not enough to make it meaningful that I've done anything drastically different. It's just probably circumstantial. But interestingly, from that 22 to 23 year, we did 55 listings, and I'm currently on 47 listings for this financial year. So a little bit off target in terms of how many listings we've put on in the new year, but that always changes. You might come in and have, July comes in and you've already got 15 listings on your books, and then you could have the following year and you've got 3 on your books, and that makes a big difference in terms of what your starting point is. But in terms of our GCI, that's sort of pretty self-explanatory that we're pretty well on track. We've got 1 month to go, and on average, we should hit our 700, which was the target. But we did change our target in the early part of this year. And the reason being is my team is set up with a full-time all-rounder in Ash, who's been with me for a few years, and she's an absolute gem. Helps out with open for inspections, does all the administration tasks, was assisting in prospecting and dealing with the droppers. She's a brilliant all-rounder, but Ash is getting to the point where she is planning on going out on her own at some point. And in order for me to help facilitate that best transition I possibly can for her, and it's not right away, it might be in a year's time or 2 years' time, it's really up to Ash whenever she's ready. But because she needs to learn the ropes to become a great salesperson, she's moving more into a prospecting and buyer's agent role, or she has moved into that rather. And we've added another team member. And so now we've got Michelle, who's an absolute jet, who's been in the industry as a salesperson in our team and our Frankston office for many years, has a wealth of experience and a wealth of knowledge as well. She's a gun. but she's just having a change in her life where she doesn't want to work weekends or after hours anymore, which is fair enough. And she's earned the right to do so. And so she's joined our team as well. And by joining the team, well, then we needed to move the goalpost in terms of our the next 12 months goals from the 700 GCI, and we've pumped that up to 900.
Yeah, love that. And that's where reviewing is so important. It's not ad hoc. You've actually done it with intention, and of course having the numbers to back it up. And you've been really consistent over your career, and we've seen that gradual increase. Every year there's a gradual increase. You had your PB a couple of years ago, 680 odd out from a financial year point of view, about 680, 690, I believe, has been your PB.
Correct, yeah.
And so when you talk, and obviously you've always worked well of recent years building your own EBU, working with an assistant. And I think it's important to understand as well, Michael's was always having that work-life balance. So Michael wasn't the agent who said, I'm going to go all in 7 days a week, burn the bridges in, working, 10, 15 hours a day. So he wanted to have that work-life balance. And as Michael said, that's the beauty about our industry. We can choose what we want to do in our business. But it's interesting, you want to up it to 900,000. So what does it look like for you? Well, let's talk about these GCI. Have you seen market volumes increase or decrease in your marketplace? If you want to just talk about you're working 2,000, 3,000 homes.
Yeah, so I've got two main patches that I've worked for. Well, one patch for 14 years, another patch that's been working for about 10 years, of 1,300 homes and about 700 homes. So there's a 2,000 core there. We've taken on another patch in a new area, which is where I live, which we're trying to break into. So there's some basic prospecting going on in there as well. But the two core areas, Marylands and Whistle Stop, that's what we refer to them as in Frankston, year on year. So the last 12 months and the 12 months prior to that from today. And Marylands is down 14% in terms of turnover. So there were 81 sales in 2024, and there's been 69 sales in the last 12 months prior to that to today, 2025. So 14% down, and then Whistle Stop's down about 9% for the same time frame. So the volumes in our market, we've had a quiet / declining market for about 3 years, and it's starting to pick up now. But it certainly wasn't a time where you could list. I've had points in my career where I've listed 48 houses and I've sold 48 houses. And my average sale price in our area is about 800,000 now. But for, it's a pretty high turnover area, and to have that change where, a slower market like anybody would be used to, with the volumes go down that you're listing 10 and you're only selling 8 of them, well, it's difficult to do the same sort of numbers. So our volume's actually down in terms of the area opportunity. 14% and 9% for those two pockets, but we've still managed the same amount of sales.
Yeah, which means you had a better opportunity ratio. You're getting into more now vendors to actually maintain your sales. So it's really, so again, if you looked at it from a figures point of view, from a review point of view, if Michael was down the 10, 15%, you could really attribute it to the market forces, because when the volumes are down, it's going to be really interesting to share the figures that David has in regards to his area and number of agents. And Maria, I know you haven't seen these slides, but I think, and Arthur, because there was one KPI that we used to talk about, number of agents working a particular area back 20 years ago when we first started, and how it looks like today. It's going to be incredible. So talk to me about your appraisals.
Very good. How are you?
I'm great, Arthur. Thanks, mate.
Michael, talk to me about your appraisal to list ratio. And do you use the Hustle Playbook?
Yeah, so I'm looking at it right now. So I've got my last 3 with me, Hustle Playbook, and then before that, the Alpha and Omega. But yeah, the Hustle Playbook is something that, if you talk about tracking your numbers, that's something that I've always done religiously. And not that I mark every single appraisal in as soon as I get back to the office and quickly write in the figures. That's not the case, but I would review it. I would say more often than not, would be pretty consistent on a monthly basis. So I would say, being really honest, in most things in my business, outside of doing the job for the client, negotiating, getting the best outcome, I genuinely think And everybody on this should be thinking to themselves the exact same thing about that I'm about to say, is that I think that I am as good as I could possibly be and as good as it gets as far as doing the best thing for my clients and getting them the best outcome. Otherwise, I shouldn't be in the door in the first place. Like, I wholeheartedly believe that. But outside of that side of my business, I'm probably about a 7 out of 10 in most things. That I'm like an okay prospector. I've got pretty good systems. I'm pretty reliable in terms of obviously doing the job, but in terms of all the parts that there's so much room for improvement with how I run my business. But what I have got is a very easy systems-based business that I've had since 2016 was when I first employed a PA, and I've always pretty much had a PA from that point to now, and it's always been one, so me and one assistant. And I've just set prospecting plans up with anniversaries and so forth, which we'll go into, where the vast majority I'm not doing. I've got a really cruisy, easy to manage business, or I have to this point, and we're obviously ramping things up, but that my plan was always, or my goal was always not to write $1 million. It was simply to write $500,000 and have 3 months holiday a year. And I just want to have plenty of time. I've got 3 little kids now. I want to have plenty of time with my girls. I want to have a great business. I want to come to work and have fun and do a great job for my clients, but have good relationships with my mates and my family, and my girls want to see me when I get home. They're all the things that I'm not willing to compromise on. And each of their own. People can go much harder than I do, and I take my hat off them, and everyone does it's what you want in your life is each to their own. But that's been a plan for a really long time, and me being a 7 out of 10 in all those facets, I've been able to maintain that for quite a few years and be pretty consistent with it.
Yeah, Michael, I love your philosophy around it all. Speaking with a lot of successful agents, there was one key point that Michael made. He delivers outstanding service to his clients. Okay. And when you do that on a one-to-one basis, and you're consistently giving great service, Michael, in our chat, and I want you to share with the team, if it's okay, how many outbound calls, how diligent are you in making your anniversary calls and outbound calls and cold calling and stuff like that?
So take away the last couple of months and just give me the last 8 years prior to that, probably. Because obviously, if you're in the early parts of your career, my 2011 to 2016, I was going hard. So I was on the phone, I was door knocking, I was doing everything. But then I got to a stage where I was doing consistently 40 to 50 sales a year with this same business model. And then the referral business and past clients really built up. So it's obviously a change. You can't do what I do now when you first start, but what I do now, I don't make calls. So I have a hot list. So if I was in my office, you would see it. I have a 3-month list of people that are written on a whiteboard directly behind me of who's really likely to come that I know is going to be coming to market. And, some come in and go out of that. But they're my hot list that if I do list something, or if I have a great sale, or if I haven't spoken to them for a few weeks, I will check in with them. So I do make those calls. And I'm obviously calling, I'm always taking phone calls and so forth, but I'm not doing my anniversary calls. I'm not cold calling. Really, we've got a big set and forget program in terms of how we do our anniversary cards that are handwritten by it was Ash, and now Michelle's taking care of those. So our clients are still receiving lots of communication, but it's not me that's doing it.
Yeah, love it. And I think that's really important. And I do speak to a lot of consistent high performers, people consistently doing their volumes. And cold calling is not on the top of their list, but delivering great client service is. So they've earned the right to be memorable at the time of transaction. So they are obviously getting a lot of repeat clients, because I know a large portion of your business, Michael, is repeat clients, and you've earned the right.
So 58% of my business is repeat referral.
Love it. And of course, then the market presence and your consistency. And the next slide will show his prospecting activities, which is really, really important. So your appraisal to list ratio, has that improved, decreased? How's it looking? And your success ratio, and of course, getting called into the door. And then we'll move on to the next slide.
So the appraisal to list ratio has been, it's at 36%. So typically hovers in that sort of 1 in 3, just over. Just over, it's currently at 36%. And that target's completely fine. So that's written in my hustle playbook has my business plan if you can see that, and I can send it through if anybody's curious. I'm not sure how that's coming up for you, but anyway, it has what my annual and my monthly goals for appraisals, listings, sales, and obviously this is now at the 900K. So when we're talking on track, off track, my appraisal numbers are off track. I'm not hitting the numbers that I need to be writing 900 grand. And so that's part of our review is, okay, we've got a lot of prospecting going out, but why, like, where's it missing? Is it market forces? Is it something that we're doing that we need to tweak? And so we're talking about that on a pretty regular basis. But my success ratio is, I've got my last 3 years tracked. So in terms of how many now vendors that I appraise and they come to market, how many I list and how many I lose. 2025 to date, I'm at 75%. So I'm winning 3 out of 4. 2024, I was at 69%. And there's something that I'll make a little point on why I think that's the case. So 69%. And then 2023 I have 2 different figures. One of them is 63% and the other one's at 81%. Now, the reason I've got 2 different figures with that is if I take away the local agent finder referrals and I take away my curbside appraisals where I never actually got to physically present to the client, they simply asked me for an appraisal and I sent them through a report. I was considering that a genuine appraisal, but I've found that if I take those out, the numbers are far, far better because if I don't really get a chance to present, then I'm just there as maybe a check and it's, I don't know, I can skew the numbers. You can be hard. I was really harsh on myself that year going, shit, I'm only at 63%. What is going on? Like, I'm training for my appraisals. I'm not doing anything different. What's happening? But if you simply don't get in front of the client, you've got a really difficult challenge to convince them that you're the best person for the job. So taking those out, the curbsides out, then I was at 81%. So 81, 69, 75.
Yeah,
3 years.
Excellent. And when we do the team average, and when I speak to a lot of, collate all the figures, it's 7 out of 10. The consistent performers are winning 7 out of every 10 vendors that are coming to market, and that should be the benchmark. And the appraisal to list ratio is 3.7 to 1. So you at 1 to 3 is fantastic. You're getting into more what we call now vendors. And that's really important to understand those figures because then you're not that harsh on yourself. So really, really well done. Your opportunity ratio up or down, like as in getting called in your marketplace?
So this is something that I don't track directly. I have in the past. I don't track it directly anymore. But what I can tell you is, and this is, maybe it's not tracked, but I can tell you from a gut feel and certainly from my observations is that it's just getting worse. Now it's getting worse in my core areas, my patch, but I'm finding I'm getting a lot more business further away. So as your business transitions to getting more repeat referral clients, you're going to find that they may not be in that particular pocket where you sold them their house in Frankston and then they move to Cranbourne and that's all of a sudden you're selling one out there, or you're referred to somebody in Chelsea and you'll go and sell one out there. So my opportunity ratio in my core areas is reducing, but I'm getting more business out of those areas. Now, I haven't really changed up my prospecting over the years, as in it's really, really consistent. And again, I'll go through that. But what I'm putting it down to is that a lot more people don't care about the hyperlocal anymore. So being the whistle stop expert, the Marylands expert that I used to get referred to really consistently from years ago, you sell everything in this pocket. I found that that's changed because now a lot of owners don't necessarily pay as much attention to what's coming in their letterbox or who's knocking on their door. They're paying more attention to going, okay, I'm ready to sell now. And who are the top 3 agents, the top 5 agents in the area? And they'll go to realestate.com or they'll go to a local agent finder or something like that. And that makes it really difficult because it's no longer the hyper local expert. It's a suburb based and Frankston's got 20,000 homes. So it's a really big area. It's difficult to be hyper local in that.
It's always really been about relationships, hasn't it? It's really about that. It's a relationship.
It's moving more and more towards that than anything. And again, understanding opportunity ratio and then identifying those properties that you didn't get called into. I still believe that you should do the exercise of, okay, do I have the contact details of this particular property that came to market? When was the last time there was a touch point? You do this 2, 3, 4, 5 times and you investigate it, you might find something that may be missing in your approach that can get you back into the door and increase that opportunity ratio, because it is an important ratio, because if you don't get called in to pitch, you're going to miss out. And one of the other things, Michael, that you've also touched on is the local agent finder. That is getting traction, guys. Local agent finder and agent referral sites are getting traction. And I know there's a number of our team who absolutely embrace it, and they get lots and lots of opportunities because boards create boards. And whilst some people love it or hate it, you're giving away a percentage of your commission. If you're not generating your volume without local agent finder, my strong suggestion is start getting those referrals, paying those referral fees to get your volume up so you can be the top 3 agents in your local marketplace. It is important. Understand, learn the rules of the game and play the game better than anyone else. No, really well done. And last couple of questions. What are your key non-negotiable prospecting activities, Michael? Like, would you reviewed your year? What? And you haven't really changed really from year to year.
Not drastically. So this is a prospecting plan with a couple of minor tweaks in there in terms of what we've done more recently, and there's some extra stuff that I'll add on top of that. But this is what has been a blueprint for my consistent sales over the years, is that my patches will get, so there's more than 2,000 homes, but if you're taking away the junk mails and housing commission houses, we have 2,000 printed, and they get those 2 to 3 times a month, and it's a sold story drop. So sold 27 Dalpura Circuit, find the story. On the back it says we had 47 buyers through, 7 offers, lowest price, highest price. It's a sold story. And so we just do that as a blanket drop 2 to 3 times per month. We have a quarterly market report that is an A4 spread into just like a DL size that we're doing consistently now. Ashley does our just listed. So we do 200 just listed drops that we have printed through our, when we get our brochures printed, part of that package is we get 200 just listed drops. And so the vendor pays for that, and Ashley does those. And then our under contract and our sold Magic 25s, we do 100 of those directly around the houses consistently. Buyer letters, price drive letters, what's my property worth, all have an end of financial year letter. They all have a similar premise that it's a time to get a checkup on the value of your property. They are becoming, I've used that for a long time, and they are becoming less and less impactful, particularly the price drive letters. What's my property worth, end of financial. It's a very interesting little exercise that I don't live in my core areas. Where I do live, I keep all the real estate material that comes in, and I track that.
You have a drops diary.
I have a drops diary for my own place, but it's not as relevant because it's not my core area that I'm working all the time. But I do own an investment property in my core area, and we've just had our tenants break a lease, and they've moved out. And I've gone to the property, and it's a very interesting thing because they don't open their mail at all. And so it's hard to see there, but that is all just real estate material of late that's gone in, that is just like a crazy snapshot. One, because it shows that, one, I'm putting more drops out than anybody else in my area by a good chunk, but also there's quite a few drops that we have put out that aren't there. So it's making me think, oh, maybe my dropper isn't 100% doing the job that they're saying they're doing. But in that, the people that live in that home are getting every second week a price drive letter. Every second week. And my one isn't there. And my one isn't there is because we put ours in an envelope, whereas the rest of theirs are printing them and just sticking it in the letterbox, which means that of these tenants that were living there, they were never taking it inside. It just stayed in the letterbox, whereas mine made it inside. So that was something that was a cute little takeaway. But I'm finding that they're just the owners of that area. It's a great little indication going, well, they're getting absolutely smashed in the letterbox. So we need to do something different.
100%. And that's why the importance, again, when we review, again, this is a mid-year review to say, okay, what are the things that we're taking away? If you have not got your drops diary organized for your own personal stuff that goes out, and obviously in your patches, you need to do so, because you will uncover. And the motivating thing is, Michael, that there's a lot of areas that people are simply not dropping, because a lot of agents will see, oh, everyone's getting bombarded with drops. Why am I going to do it? But Again, I do believe that the marketing that you do needs to be different, but also consistent. So yeah, keep doing it. And of course, when you talk about your 2 to 3 monthly drops, that is a mixture of buy letters, price drive letters, Magic 25s, end of years, and so forth. Or is that on top? That's on top.
The consistent is the 2,000 going out 2 to 3 times a month. So they're getting, if you live in my patch, you're getting between 2 and 3 sold story drops. If you live directly around a home I've sold or listed, then you get the Magic 200s directly around that.
Right.
You also get a buy letter, you get a price drive letter, you get a what's my property worth letter, you get an end of financial year letter, and you get a fridge magnet if you live in my patch. And then the one they're saying New Year letter, that's for my database. That's for my past vendors, buyers, appraisals. There's about 850 of those that get a direct personalized letter. Well, personalized in that I've got pictures of my family in that letter, and it's a review on me personally, it's a review on the market. It's not a blanket random thing. It's sort of assuming there's a relationship there. And that's just an extra one.
Yeah. But everyone's getting their anniversary, your active pipe, which is your weekly email that goes out, and of course the what's my property worth with the socials to get your present. So
that's something that we've just changed. So we've again pivoting because we're doing so much in terms of paper and junk going into people's letterboxes or letters as they're getting bombarded with that, and that worked for a really long period of time, and I'm just finding it's dropping off. So what's working, what's not is we're finding that that's not having the impact that it has for many years. And so we've just done a What's My Property Worth socials campaign through Steps. Everyone has access to that, I assume, Manos?
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Or agency members do. If those non-agency members reach out to one of our team and we can get you connected there.
So Steps already has, and George, your son, ran this campaign for quite a while. What's My Property Worth Facebook ad or an Instagram ad. We decided to do that. So every single time I do a blanket drop, it costs me $500. So to print 2,000 plus paying the droppers to get it out, it's $500. And so on top of that, so for us to change it up because we're not getting the same traction as we did in the past, we've just spent $300 over the course of 3 weeks in the map search of the Frankston area for What's My Property Worth. And when we did that, we had 3 direct appraisals from it. 1 was a hot seller, 2 just price check, and then 5 address searches. With the address searches, that just means that they've simply put in their address for the first step, thinking they're going to get an instant report. That then takes them to the next step where they need to put their name in, their phone number, and their email. And most people drop off with that, for those that don't know. When we have those people, we have a strategy where we drop them off a Make Your Home Their Dream book. So it's effectively how do you prepare your house for sale, and just a fridge magnet from me, and a note, if you need any help, let us know. And it hadn't worked at all. We probably dropped, I don't know, 50 of these over the years, and no one's ever responded to it. But we've just had our first one that came back that they did an address search. Ash then dropped off the Make Your Home Their Dream booklet, and then they called us in, and then we appraised it, and they're now a seller. So it'll finally pay off, mate.
Yeah. And can I just say, you did 53 of them. So 1 in 53 is pretty good strike rate, especially when you drop 2,000 or 1,000, and we're lucky to get 1 to 2 appraisals from those drops. So you do get it after a consistent point in time. So 1 in 53 is pretty good, I reckon. Really,
if you think about that expense, so I'd said $500 for me to do 1 mass drop, and I never get appraisals off it. I do it for the pure reason, and I've justified this to myself for the years, that they see me everywhere. It's the omnipresence that they see me in the letterbox, and they see the pointer boards, and they go online. They're on, they see me everywhere. And that when people would call me and say, "Oh, now can I ask, where did you get my details? Was I referred to you?" "Oh no, we see you everywhere," or whatever the feedback is. It was market presence, and I was like, well, the market presence ones are likely because of the drops. But then I spent $300 on a What's My Property Worth ad, and I don't think you can do it all the time, but that generated 3 genuine appraisals. So what's working better? Clearly, that has a better impact, at least sporadically. Time will tell.
Yeah. You've got to change it up. Awesome. And I know I'm just looking at time as well. So just quickly, because you've covered most of the things, Michael, quick one on your training, because I know you're a big believer of training. And what does the next 6 to 12 months look like for you?
Yeah, so training wise, it's as simple as just logging into every single black salt training that we do. Anytime there's an opportunity for scripts and dialogues, I don't make every single one of them, but I genuinely try to get to as many as possible. We also have our weekly sales meetings where there's always opportunity for people to bring up issues that they've got, little difficult situations, and then between all of us, and you refer to them as being the brains trust, it's absolutely true. We've got so much experience in the team, and we have it within our office, but then, you know, we've all got, well, the people that are in the AA network are part of the members page, and the amount of people that are so willing to give and help is insane. So, yeah, I'm religious when it comes to Black Soul training, and even when it was a different name before that, I've always a big fan of it. Yes, that's it.
And you mentioned the next 6-12 months, you're on target. Well, you've restructured the goal to hit 900,000.
Yeah, so the target was 700. We've now got another person in the team, so we're pushing for 900. And in the first sort of, we're about four and a bit months into having Michelle on board, and she's an absolute jet. So I can just see it's going to pay dividends, but it hasn't yet, but it will. So I'm totally fine with that. Let's review it in 6 months and see how it's all tracking. But this is really that'll be the better gauge as to how we're going with a team of 3.
Yeah. Look, I can see that you're building a momentum, you're building foundations, and you're laying the seeds for, you know, our results today are purely a direct reflection of the activity we did 3-6 months ago, 12 months ago, 2 years ago, and so forth. And you're putting in that extra effort now and just changing it up. So who knows, you might crack that $1 million mark. So let's go for that. So, guys, can we give it up for Michael? I think that's any Q&As for Michael. Anyone got a quick question for Michael before we move over to David?
I want to know how upsetting it was not to hit 100K last month, Michael.
You know what, Arthur? Not even a little bit, mate. Not one.
Good on you, sweetheart.
If I'm consistently writing 99 grand, I couldn't give a shit.
I love it. That's fantastic. Okay.
Only a salesperson laughs at that one.
Can I just say with Michael, guys, I just think, like, one thing that I've admired about you over the years, first of all, your maturity, you know, because you're quite young still, and I would call you a veteran in the industry, but you always knew when to tap on and then when to turn it off. And it was all around your family and your girls. And every time you had a newborn, you know, you turned it off a little bit, still ticked along really, really well. But the clients that you serviced really, really, really well. And you did a great job, but you just, you know, you just dropped the prospecting. I don't know what you did, but you knew it was on purpose. So, you know, the ups and the downs over the years, it wasn't because you know, you didn't know that it was happening. You actually pre-planned it, and you knew how to turn the tap on and then turn it off, not completely, but, you know, steady to have the amount of time off that you needed to be with your family. And I think that's just so clever. And it's just something that we can really do and achieve in this industry. And not many people get that, you know, and yeah, I just want to say well done. I'm really, really proud of you.
And just very, very briefly on that, that's because you're having great team members, like having a team that supports you, and then having, 100%. I've had Ashley for the years, and before that I had Jess and Briley and Michelle, and they're brilliant. And so having good people with you is everything.
Yeah,
absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Another big round of applause,
none of us can do
guys.
it on our own. Yeah, well done.
Thank you.
Well done. Okay. So moving on to our next host, and before I bring David on, I just want to share this video, and I'm hoping my share screen audio happens as well. If you haven't seen the latest Dwyer Properties promotional video, let's put it on there.
Home.
Can you hear that?
It's where we live, and it's where we feel safe. Home is where we connect and where we create memories. At Dwyer Properties, we understand what home means. Dwyer Properties, bringing you home to the Sapphire Coast.
Well done. And on that, let's bring on David.
How are you, mate?
How are you, David? And I'll bring back the slides. Can you see that?
Yep, all good.
Yep, awesome. Okay, welcome, David.
Yep, thank you.
And you've been.
Firstly, well done, Michael. That was sensational. And one thing that I sort of took out of that is this job or this career can cater for everyone, okay? No matter what hours you want to work, what days you want to do. But you can't do what Michael's doing unless you're totally organised. And when you get to work from start to finish, you've got everything planned, you've got your systems in place, and you're prepared to do that work. So well done, mate.
Yeah, super well done, and really well said, David, and shared, because you can't do it unless you are systemised, and it does take a bit of grunt work. I call it the 6 months of grind to get yourself prepared for it and putting it in place. And also, the other thing that Michael mentioned is not to be perfect in every aspect, but be perfect in those few aspects that are going to be the needle movers for you. Because sometimes there's so much to do. We think, oh, you know, we're missing it, but we actually don't focus on the true things. The number one thing is delivering great service. So I'm going to skip this one because I know we're going to go through this one. How you're tracking for the calendar year or financial year. I'm going to go straight into the numbers. Is that okay, David? Cool. But do you want to just give a brief description of your team at the moment and how the office is set up? Because you come from a leadership perspective as a principal of an office. So obviously the guests can get an understanding of how, and that's why I wanted to put that video on, because it is the team. And congratulations, that feel and the mood that you give is excellent. Who loved that video? Like it's a 30-second video, but how good is it? So yeah, it encapsulates everything that Dwyer Properties does. But yeah, do you want to give a quick brief on the team?
Yeah, we think it pulls together the teamwork that we do have in the office. And so what we've got is Tanya, my wife's now moved over with me. So we've got an EBU with myself and Tanya as Team Dwyer. We've got Hayden, who last year, Maddie joined him in Hayden's EBU. So it's the two of them. Simon's going along on his own, and he's really hidden his straps as well. And we've got young Max that he's just, you know, starting to take off a bit now as well. He's probably with us for about 6 months. So there's 6 of us all up in the sales team. So we've got 2 associates and well, three agents and tenure. So,
and you've also got a property management
Manos,
division.
sorry, can I just interrupt? I just want to make sure that it's maybe it's just me, but I can hardly hear David. Can everyone else hear him, or is it just me? Can you hear him okay, Manos?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, so I'm let Arthur do it.
Yeah. Can you
Possibly,
lean in, maybe David, lean in towards you, because it's very faint. I just want to double check, that's all.
No problem. Yeah, so and we decided to do it that way. We wanted to break it up into core areas where each person can, you know, really try and target the core areas. So, you know, own that area and see if we can be known as the agent for that area.
Perfect. Okay, cool. One of the things that you do, David, really well is you drive your business through values and behaviors, and obviously we're going to be sharing these documents. This document's about 10 pages long, about your Dwyer Properties guiding principles. How important is the values and behaviors, and how do you manage that in your team?
I think everything has to start there. You've really got to go back at the beginning. You've got to make sure you're hiring good people. Like, one important note is, in my office, not one person had a real estate background. So every single person was trained in our office, so they know exactly our system. And the first thing, you really got to, you know, hire a good person first and teach them the skills. That's how I look at it. So the guiding principles is a document that I put together. It took about 6 months with the help of Manos, with River Property. Sorry, I've lost his name.
Chris
Henry, sorry.
Chris Henry.
And also Michael Garside from Harcourts in Dapto. So I've got a lot of information from all those guys to help me come up with what was a final document that we shared with the team. And we implemented, we went right through what is our values, our principles, and then it was into the nitty-gritty of what happens when a lead comes in, who gets that lead, who's responsible for it, when a buyer comes in, who gets that buy. So we've got every single thing that happens in a real estate office can be answered with the guiding principles. So the big thing that we wanted to do was make sure that we're not making decisions on the spot all the time about what happens here, what happens there. Every single thing is in that document. So I'm really proud of that, and it took a lot of work. We've booked in to have another session with it in a couple of weeks' time. So annually we'll go back through the document and go, you know what, we could change that rule a little bit, or we could tweak that. So be open to, have a round table with the staff where everyone can go through it and decide how they want to do it. But like I said to Manos, I'm open to sharing this document with anyone if it helps anyone that's building a team, if it helps get the principles in place right from the get-go, because it is really hard when you're starting a business and you don't know a lot of these things and how to work.
And the thing is, most business owners get straight into building the business, listing and selling, and they kind of leave this in the back burner, but it needs to be front and center. So again, we'll put it up on the Black Salt portal team. You can be able to download it. And obviously, whilst it is David's values and guiding principle, everyone's a little bit different, and you'll need to change it up if you want to implement some sort of document to obviously suit you, because everyone's DNA is different. So absolutely invaluable. Okay. So let's talk about the numbers, David, because from a business perspective and from a review perspective, these numbers give you clarity. And I know when we're going through this exercise and asking you to present, actually doing it again gives you so much clarity in what's actually happening, and some exciting numbers for you. So your total properties in your catchment area is, if you want to just talk about this, properties in your catchment area are 7,000.
We cover two postcodes, 2548 and 2549. And we do a few things outside those postcodes, but that would be 95% of our work would be in there. So in that area, it's just under 7,000 properties in the area. That's including land. There's still some vacant land that gets sold. It works out about a 5% turnover each year into the area. That'll fluctuate a little bit, but thereabouts it's in that 5% range. We're not without competition. We've got there's 9 agencies selling out of our area and 24 agents. Some of those agents might be coming from Eton or Bega, but everyone's trying to work their way into Maringa and get the.
Yeah, and can I just mention when we and this is where the smile was put onto my face, because I haven't done this exercise for a very, very long time, because whenever I looked at areas, I looked at how many agencies, how many agents are working in an area and so forth. So 2003, we started team in real estate. And that was one of my first KPIs that I looked at, was how many agents actually servicing particular area. Back then, it was 3 per 1,000. And we did it across Melbourne. I looked at every area that we had friends in and other colleagues, said, let's do the numbers. And it was always approximately 3 agents per 1,000 homes. And if you look at this is what it is now. It's approximately still 3 agents per 1,000 homes, still 22 years later. Agencies, standalone agencies, it used to be about 1,500 to 1,700 homes, and you'd have a standalone agency. That's according to obviously the Maringa area, it's 9 agencies. But it's always about the agents, so it's less than 800 homes per office. So absolutely invaluable when I saw this statistic. Have you noticed a change, David? Is this the first time you did this, or?
First time since probably when I first started with AA, and we went through the exercise then when we're breaking up the core areas. So it's really good to have a look back at it, because one of the questions you had for me last week was, are sales up and down in the area? And, it shows that we're up 10% in the area, which I wouldn't have said that. So, it's always good to get a bit of a guide. And I think it's a good thing that I can do this every year now, or every 6 months. I think is a good time to do it, end of the year and end of the financial year. So just so we know our numbers and what's happening in our area. Of those 9 agencies too, there's a couple of them that are real disruptors, and they are, we, like every agent, we get to the stage where sometimes we think, oh, how are we going to beat them? They're winning everything. But most of it's in our head. When you look at the actual numbers, we're well and truly outweighing them. But it's just that mental thing. We're all agents. We always think someone else has got the secret sauce.
Yeah, 100%. And these numbers are important. Just like Michael mentioned that his numbers were down 14%, 9% in his patches. Obviously in Merimbula, they've been up around 11%. And that's significant, especially what the Dwyer team have done. They've upped their market share from 21% to 31%. And it's obviously reflected in obviously your GCI figures. That's a huge one. Would you be close to number one, if not number one, David?
Yeah, we're number one in the area as far as market share. And you'll see how we've gone from 21 to 31% on the next slide. So we're up from 61 sales to 99 sales. Now, the thing
I think that needs a big round of applause to go number, because you weren't number one a few years back. You're number one now. So so it was strategic to actually get to this level. But yeah, please continue.
Yeah, so this figures we're looking at there, that's 12 months for 24, and that's only 11 months. So we've still got 1 month to go. Now, are we on track, off track? Last year's goal was to make 1.5. This year's goal was to make 2. We're at the halfway mark of the year. So if we add probably 140, 150 to the next month, we should be just about on track. We'll probably might be falling short a little bit. We'll end up about 1.75, which is halfway between the 1.5 and 1.2 for the year. So it's off to a good start at the moment. Hayden mentioned earlier he's off track. He forgot to mention to you that he got married earlier in the year and he's been on his honeymoon, so he's got good reason. And
100%.
Since he's got back, he's as all good agents do, they grab the baton and run. Okay, so yeah, the GCI is up, which is good. The new listing, everything's up except for the average sale price, which has dropped 4%, which has obviously dragged the commission down with it a little bit as well. But our average commission's not too bad. We run on a flat fee of 2.2%, including GST. And for that period, we're 2.17. So there's the occasional one where we have to drop it to get the business. But pretty much we stick to our fee, and we're pretty close to the market.
And I love this one, the number of appraisals, you're up 20%, which is really significant. You're adding an extra appraisal every four that you do. And I know we're going to talk about your prospecting a little bit later, but offhand, was there anything in particular that you did to increase those appraisal numbers? Because my philosophy, quiet market, balanced market, hot market, we need listings. To get listings, we need to get into more opportunities.
Yep. You're on the shopping list when you get to number one. So when you're showing up on the portals as realestate.com or Google, if you're in that top 3, yes, you're on the shopping list. The higher you get up the top, the bigger the chance of getting called in. We also started the TV commercial in January, and we also started the running the banners on realestate.com in January as well. So we've got the suburb banners.
Love it.
On REA. So they're probably the 2 things that we're doing this year. What we did.
But what came first? Did the the spend in the advertising come first, and then you got to market share, or vice versa?
I would have to say probably the TV commercial helped. Yeah.
Yep. Love it. And we'll talk about budget, but how much are you spending on the TV commercial? Because obviously TV commercials in the the regional areas more affordable than what it is in the metropolitan areas. What are you paying for the TV commercial?
About $2,000 a month.
$2,000 a month. Okay. And just a quick question. I'm not sure if we had it on the next slide, but what's your budget for prospecting from your volume?
Yeah, it works out at 5% of our turnover. So just look at the figures here. We've spent $81,000 on marketing this year.
Great.
So
love it. And Michael, what was your percentage? Can you work out what your percentage was on the marketing that you're spending? Is it about
5%?
You're spending 5%, David. Michael, you're about 10%?
Give me a sec, mate, and I'll go to my profit and loss and I'll tell you.
I love it. Okay, love it. Percentage of lost appraisals, 5%. So that's a really a low number. So 1 in 20 you're losing. So that's really a really good high conversion rate. And your list to sell ratio is 73, 74%. So that's really good. And of course your com's great. Okay, moving forward. So you have a different way of reviewing your business, and you've broken it up into your daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annually. Do you want to just share with the team, David, your review of because your consistency is so good, but that's because you've got these systems in place.
Yeah. So the daily huddle, it might not even be a meeting. We're in a small office and we're all talking all the time. So you're running over at the start of the day with your person in your EBU, running out what's going right, what's going wrong, what have we got on today, you know, what are we focusing on today, what prospecting are we doing, what buyers are we talking to. So I think that's pretty important within each EBU to have a bit of an idea. But you know, quite often I'll sort of be walking around the office, just guys, what are you up to today, that sort of thing. But a good mindset for everyone to have is to have one result a day. So,
Yeah.
you know, always, if you're in the office, if we can just go running before I leave today, I'm going to get one thing. Is it an appraisal? And am I getting a listing? You know, if you're an associate, am I going to create an appraisal for someone in my team? And just have, so rather than, the way I would look at it, rather than saying I've got to make 30 phone calls, is saying, look, I'm just going to get one appraisal for Hayden tomorrow, or I'm going to get one, you know, get one result for the day, whether it's a listing or sale. You know, if you can't get any of those, get a price reduction. And I've spoken to Manos about this before. It's what is better, a listing or a price reduction? And in my books, they're equal, because we've all got listings on our books that, okay, they're listed, but are they a listing that's going to sell? And it's very easy to turn a C listing into an A listing just with a change in price. So, you know, I would certainly be focusing on that. If we can't get any of the other things, get a price reduction.
And in our regular catch-ups, Dave, we talk about having a price adjustment system, and one that the team can follow. And it's really evident when you do measure, and you can see in the same marketplace, someone who is selling properties within a 30-day period, as an example, and someone who's taking 60 days, straight away you can identify, I need to have a better price adjustment system, right? And when you improve that, all the numbers improve. And obviously the workload, because having a listing for 60 days is a lot more effort than having a listing for 30 days, plus the roll-on effect from a positive outcome for vendors. Because we know when a property sells within a 4 to 5 week period, we know we're getting the optimum price. That's what the statistics share with us.
Yep.
Awesome. So on a weekly basis, you run your sales meeting. What's the big highlights that you get out of your sales meeting?
The big thing we want to look at there is, I don't want it to be a history lesson. You know, we all know how many we've listed and how many we've sold. So let's go over the cookings. You know, how can we create? And quite often people will have written down what their cookings are, and then we'll go through the appraisals for the week, and we might uncover one or two that weren't on the list, so we can bring them forward. Same with the sales, you know, who we got cooking, and just to have a good round table discussion on different buyers that are looking. So the whole idea of the weekly sales meeting is to try and uncover opportunities. So we really want to make sure that.
And I love this one. List the properties that have listed and sold with other agents. Work out if you had appraised them, looked at your opportunity ratio, but also let's get busy prospecting around these listings. And that's been key for you guys.
Yeah, so, you know, our non-negotiables, yes, we do our just listings, just solds around every property that we have. And then in the listing document, the meeting document that we have, we go through every property that has come on with another agent and every property that is sold with another agent. And there's our prospecting for the next week. So we make sure we get around the opposite agents. We get the occasional call I get the occasional call from opposition agents. having a bit of a whinge, but we're just updating our marketplace. So some of them think that we're trying to claim that we sold the property that they sold, but we're just letting people know that a property in their street sold. That's all.
And it's been really effective for you. And some people may recall, especially from the AA team, a year or so ago, I did a bit of a Tom Panos rant on socials about how an opposition agent listed a property in our street, but did not do the fundamentals, door knock, prospect, just listed, just sold. And I had a whole bunch of neighbours actually approach me and go, hey, what did it list for? What did it sell for? And it's information that now vendors want to hear, the locals. So targeting properties, if you do a review, guys, if there's one thing we're talking about, a review, have a look at what's coming up in your marketplace and see why you didn't get called in the first place. And then from a prospecting point of view, using that oxymoron, the 60-40 rule, we know 40% of vendors will choose a different agent that actually had a successful sale in the street. So you might as well be working this, but this is how you keep on track. And this document, besides being in the slide guides, will be provided as per the value statement. And finally, before we go into your agent prospecting and the office prospecting slide, David, talk to us about monthly, quarterly, annually.
Yeah, just this is more for me as the leader with the whiteboard. Look, I always believe there's two types of agents. You got one that loves the whiteboard and one that hates the whiteboard. If they hate the whiteboard, it's because their results aren't on it. So it's really important. A good agent wants to see his results go up and get, see the reward straight away. So we're really big on that we ring the bell as soon as you get a result. Everything goes on the whiteboard. At the end of the month, we take a photo of that, give the guys a copy of the whiteboard, and clean it off and set the targets again and go again. But it's so that's something that we do on a monthly basis. And everyone needs to look at their own goals right now. Am I off track? Am I on track? And make that decision. If I'm off track, am I prepared to do what it's going to take to get me back on track? If not, you just got to accept that you've got to lower your goal. And I spoke to you about this, Manos, that, some people, like Michael just said, some people don't want to make the big money, some people do. But be real with yourself. You don't think that you're going to make that money by chance. So you've either got to do more or accept less. And that's the reality of it. Okay.
Yeah.
Quarterly, once again, you're just going over, working, how's our market share going? Has it grown? Has it declined? We have our quarterly mail drop, which is paid for by the office. Which depending on the season of the end of year financial health check letter is going out in a week or two. So just to get those quarterly prospecting letters out. So they're mailed out through Australia Post, and so they in an envelope into every property in the area. Okay.
And that was a big change for you as well. That was the first time you did that, and you saw a significant increase, because you never used to do mass saturation of your 7,000 homes on a regular basis. That was one. Sorry.
And no one else in the area does. So we're very lucky that, as far as DLs, like what Michael held up earlier, if we received one a month from another agent, that would be a lot. So we're well and truly above all the other agents when it comes to the amount of deals and prospecting we put out there.
Yeah. And that's a huge advantage. And look, there's no two ways about it. If your area is being saturated, you still got to be putting it in there. But if your area is not getting saturated, mate, take advantage, because that's how you get market share and get that better opportunity ratio. But before we get into your agent prospecting, your office marketing prospecting, David, Michael, did you get that figure as a percentage?
Not as a percentage, but we can work it out quickly. It was 14 grand in the 24 financial year, and we're at 19 grand in the 25 financial year.
Not 19,000.
Yeah.
So 19,000 divided by 640,000. So you're about 3%. 3% of your turnover is spent on marketing, like flyers and all that sort of stuff. So yeah. No, you've done real for the saturation that you do. That's a really good figure. Really good figure. Awesome. Oh, okay, David. So we know, David, you're spending about 5% in office marketing. So the office marketing is different to agent prospecting. Did you want to just distinguish the two?
Yeah, so the agent prospecting is the just sold, just listed. They're all vendor paid, so I don't include that in the office marketing figure. So, and then your OFI invites, your letters, nominated buyer letter is something we do, which is, you know, let's find out a property that in a street where someone wants to be and go prospecting in that street. So try and find a particular property for someone. What I call bread and butter prospecting letters, like in every area, there's going to be the price range of what sells. Okay, for us at the moment, it's anything in the 800 to 950 range is going to sell. So make sure we prospect those properties. There's no use trying to list the 1.2s and 1.5s, and that's not what's selling. So yes,
that's a really good tip, guys. Like if you really like analyze that, so you know where the hot properties are, what's really moving, and then just target that price point. You know, and that's a really hot tip. That's excellent.
If you know your core area, you'll know the streets that are going to sell.
Yeah. I noticed on this list, the anniversary strategy. Are you doing anniversary cards? Is that an office thing or is that an agent prospecting?
Individual agents, yeah. Individual
agents at the beginning of each month, they're doing their anniversary cards and phone calls. Great.
Just with the open homes, you know, that's your chance to shine. So, you know, we have the big flags. The front door mat with Dwyer Properties goes down. You know, music playing, set the atmosphere. So, you know, things that probably everyone is doing. But I just think it gives a really good feel. In our area, people mention to us that we're the only ones that play music. So it's just a little thing that gives people a good feel. Okay, into office marketing, we've got the TV commercial, which is something new. Radio, we've been on radio now for a few years. The quarterly mail drop, which I mentioned, so seasonal, active pipe, a few social media campaigns. Really big on sponsorship. So the golf club, every golf cart, there's 31 golf carts. They've all got Dwyer Properties. We're the only sponsor on the golf carts, so they've all got Dwyer Properties on them. The basketball team out of the racing club, football, the local football team. You know, things that you do to support the community, like the New Year's Eve fireworks. We donate a bit for that. Different shop campaigns, we help with that as well. So, and also just, you know, charities, like you're always bombarded, of course, with charities, and we just make sure we give locally where we can.
Yeah, love it. Okay, awesome. And finally, training and what's next?
Yeah, well, training, that's where me and you met, Manos. So I'll never forget, we were at a Lee Woodward event, and you and Maria, Chris Henry,
Michael Garside.
Yeah, all up in Hunter Valley, and there was a spare seat next to you, so I pushed my way in there and had no idea who any of you were, but it was probably the best meeting I've had. So yeah, the in-house training is something we do every week. So we have our sales meeting, which will go from 8:30 till about 9:15, and then we go in. That's always in the cafe outside. We sit outside. Then we go inside and we do in-house training where we do role plays. It'll be just a simple thing. Who's having a struggle with something this week? And then we chat about it and we role play it, how we can fix it. So, and I think that's invaluable. External training, of course, with Lee Woodward, Tom Penos, the real estate gym. You've got your Black Salt seminar, the awards dinner. I think last year we took the whole team, and I think that just was a really great atmosphere, especially with Maddie and Hayden taking out awards. So that was something special. Books, if I go back early in my career, anything by Brian Tracy. I think I read all his books, you know, when I first started out in real estate. Some books that come to mind, Atomic Habits, Start With Why. And the latest one I've read is Die With Zero, which I love that. It's
incredible book.
Yeah.
If you haven't read it, team, Die With Zero, something we promote at the Live It Up conference as well. it does change your perspective on so many things.
Now, we've all been in a listing presentation where we've got it and we've come out and we're doing the Toyota jump and clicking your heels together. And we've also sat in the car afterwards and banged on the steering wheel. And I think after each of those, it's good to, just ask yourself, right now, what did I do really well? And what could I have done better? And, just make sure we learn from every little thing that we do. What's next? Well, as I've got there, I made a commitment to everyone when I employ them. I say, I'm offering you a career, I'm not offering you a job. And that's really where I want to push my focus now, is I want, really helping coach the team and which is really hard if you're a listing selling principal, and it's really hard to find the time to do that. But I think more one-on-ones and more coaching is where I really want to push the guys. There's no satisfaction as a leader, and you would have seen it very often, Manos, is, when you see young people achieve things way above what they ever thought they could. So, it's a fantastic feeling. Property management, our property management department, we currently have 135 properties. I've never paid for a property. Everything's been organic. And we look to grow that up to 200. So I'd be, hoping within the next year we sort of have that over 200. And the sales market, just to keep pushing it forward. So, 35 market share, 35% sounds like a lot when there's 9 agencies in town, and it is a lot, but I still believe we've got the team to do it. And we all know that the clients won't list with an agency just because it's that agency. They will list with the person that makes a phone call, the person that's there, the person that, just offers them the service. And I think we can do that for them.
Yeah, I think you're well on track. You're at 31% now, David. And all these other implementations, you're going to be well on track to hit that 35% mark. And then again, you just focus on all the fundamentals to get there. So, guys, we've come to the end of the presentation. Any Q&A for David? Any questions for David? I'm sure there'll be heaps.
Just a huge congratulations from me, David. Well done. And by any chance, the growth from last year to this year, did that have anything to do with Tanya coming on board? I'm just asking the question.
I knew that was coming, but look, you're fool to say that it didn't. Tanya had a massive influence. For those that don't know, Tanya was in the pharmacy, so all the old people all love her to start with. So it certainly helps. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I just wanted to add on a serious note. When you talked about your daily, weekly, monthly commitments with the team, I just think the one that really caught my eye was just focus on that one thing a day. Just become that granular that, if that's all you think about, that just one thing a day, if you're going to make a sale or an appraisal or a list, and if you just focus on that, sometimes it can become overwhelming with all the things that we've got to look at and focus on. I thought that was a very, very important point.
Maddie, and we worked out her ideal week, and I put some blue squares down the bottom of the page. And because once again, if we're concentrating that we've got to do 50 calls or 100 drops, or whatever, it's not really what we're trying to achieve. So all you've got to do, Maddie, is fill that square for Hayden tomorrow. Put an appraisal in there.
Yeah.
And then when that's put one in for Thursday or Friday or whatever, but it just simplifies it.
It does.
Well done.
Guys, invaluable session. I always love. So the whole goal now, can we give a big round of applause to David and Michael? I sincerely thank you, because it's not just the hour and a half, I should say, that the guys spend here. It's all the groundwork that they put behind the beforehand to actually get this presentation. And that goes for everyone that presents, and whether they're presenting at Black Salt or one of the AA sales meetings and so forth, a lot of effort goes into the session. So a big thank you from myself, David and Michael, and congratulations on everything you do. You are consistent, you know where you're going, you're humble in everything that you do. And that's why we love you guys. And yeah, really thank you so much for sharing. Guys, any last questions? Our next session obviously is going to be, let me just check when that session is. So the next session is July the 3rd. It's going to be at 11:30 through to 1:30 or 1 o'clock, I should say, Winning the Business with Jared Carmen. So he's going to be on the listing presentation. So he'll be hosting that session. We'll be making our way back to Melbourne that week. So looking forward to obviously catching up with everyone in the following session. So that will be an invaluable, winning the business listing presentation. Again, the whole purpose of these sessions is for you to go away and actually to implement. Do yourself a favor, get the sales agent workbook, as I mentioned earlier, go through it, go through your numbers, cull. And if you listen to Michael and David's presentation, they're not doing everything, but what they are doing, they're doing it effectively and consistently. And that's why they're getting the results. And what gets measured gets done and also improved. Any last thoughts? Any last comments, Arthur, Maria, or anyone else like to share any last thoughts?
Just something a little bit off topic. I noticed that Haydo today listed a hairdressing salon. Any reason why you missed that listing, David?
On that note.
Oh, and there he is. That's why we love you, Arthur.
It'll do no good for you, Arthur.
God, I miss you.
You just got to dig a little deeper, Maria, and that's where you find the gold. Have a good one, David. That was amazing. Michael, thank you. Guys, thank you very much. Manos, is it a beach day today, buddy? Is it a beach day?
Yes, it is, Arthur.
It is. Yeah, it is. It is.
Good on you.
Yeah.
No, we're going to catch up with, I think we're catching up with the Newly team in about half an hour. So looking forward to catching up with Brad and Matt a little later. And yeah, once again, guys, thanks for attending. Really appreciate your time that you give. And those that have attended, hope you get some value out of it every single time as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Be good.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care. And again, these things will be put onto the Black Salt Hub, so you can access them at any time. Be good.
Thanks,
Take
guys.
care.